Do you ever find yourself caught in that seemingly endless loop of no, don't do that with your toddler? That little word, no, can start to feel like the soundtrack of our parenting lives sometimes, can't it? And if you're anything like me, you've probably wondered if there's a better way. A way that feels less like a constant battle and more like a gentle guide for our little explorers. It's a really common challenge, you know. We're trying to keep them safe, teach them boundaries, and help them grow into considerate little humans. But hearing no all the time, it can be exhausting for us, and honestly, a little disheartening for our toddlers too. Some parenting experts even suggest that when no becomes too common, it can lose its power, or even worse, unintentionally plant seeds of resentment, or encourage those little rebellious streaks we see emerge. Dr. Audrey Ricker, co-author of Backtalk, 4 Steps in Ending Rude Behavior in Your Kids, points out that overusing no can actually desensitize our children to its impact. She suggests we save it for those truly critical, life-threatening situations, those moments when we need their immediate attention. So, what do we do instead? How do we navigate these everyday toddler moments, the food flinging, the toy snatching, the endless requests for sweets, without resorting to that default no? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore together today. We're going to dive into some practical, compassionate ways to discipline, to guide, to teach our toddlers, using approaches that build connection and understanding rather than just shutting things down. We'll be looking at how using short, clear, and direct phrases that explain why a behavior isn't appropriate can be so much more effective. So, grab a comfy seat, maybe a warm drink, and let's talk about how we can turn those challenging moments into opportunities for growth and deeper connection with our little ones. One of the most common battlegrounds can be around food, can't it? Those little eyes light up at the sight of anything sugary. So let's start there with our first key idea: redirecting their desires and offering positive choices. This approach is all about understanding that our toddlers often have a legitimate want or need, even if the way they express it or what they're asking for isn't ideal. Instead of a flat-out no, we can guide them towards a more acceptable alternative. Think about it. It's easier for anyone, especially a toddler, to switch to doing something else rather than just stopping a behavior cold turkey. So let's talk about that classic scenario. Your toddler is reaching for more sweets, maybe even after they've had their fair share. Dr. David Walsh, author of No, Why Kids of All Ages Need to Hear It and Ways Parents Can Say It, has some wonderful insights here. He suggests that instead of just saying no to that ice cream or candy, we can offer a healthier alternative. Maybe it's some yummy yogurt with berries, or a colorful fruit skewer. The key, as Dr. Walsh advises, is to avoid the maybe tomorrow trap. Toddlers live so much in the present moment. Tomorrow is a lifetime away for them. They just want what they want right now. So we need to be calm, firm, and warm as we offer that healthy snack, even if there are protests. It's about saying, I see you want a treat, and here's a delicious treat we can have now. This way, they still feel heard, they still get a treat, but it's one that nourishes their little bodies. And while we're on the topic of food, it's so important to pay attention to the messages we're sending. This idea of redirecting and offering alternatives extends beyond just food. Think about when your toddler grabs for your phone every time it rings, especially when you're out and about, like in the grocery store. It's shiny, it makes noise. Of course, it's tempting, but it's not a toy. Dr. Eileen Kennedy Moore, author of What About Me? 12 Ways to Get Your Parents' Attention, reminds us that it's easier for children to replace a behavior than to stop it. So, the next time those little hands reach for your phone, instead of a sharp no, try having a small, engaging toy ready to offer them. If you don't have a toy, no worries. Look around. Maybe you can hand them a non-breakable, safe item from your grocery cart, like a plastic bottle of water. Make sure it's sealed. or even a sturdy vegetable they can hold. You can even turn it into a little game. Can you hold this very important orange for me while I finish paying? Or use it as an opportunity to teach. Look at this shiny red apple. Isn't it beautiful? You're acknowledging their interest, but gently steering them towards something more appropriate. And what about when our toddlers get into those little destructive moods? You know, when they're knocking over the garbage can for the 10th time, or throwing a ball in the house when you've asked them not to. Laughter and playfulness can be surprisingly powerful tools here. Dr. Kennedy Moore also highlights that distraction and humor are excellent strategies to use with toddlers who are feeling stubborn or irritable. Little kids adore being silly. So instead of a stern, "No, stop that," try a funny warning like, "Uh-oh, here come the tickle fingers to get the garbage can tipper." And then playfully chase them into another room where they can engage in something more constructive. Or if they're throwing a ball inside, you might say in an exaggerated, playful voice, "Whoa there, Speedy Pitcher. That ball looks like it wants to play outside where it has lots of room to fly." Then you can guide them to a safer space for that kind of play. It's about redirecting that energy, that curiosity, into something positive and fun, strengthening your connection in the process. Now, redirection is fantastic, but sometimes we also need to set clear boundaries. And that's where our second key idea comes in: setting clear boundaries with empathy and positive language. This is all about explaining our expectations in a way our toddlers can understand, and doing it with kindness and respect. Let's go back to mealtime mayhem for a moment. Imagine your toddler, mid-meal, decides that their bowl of macaroni and cheese would look much better on the floor. It's a classic toddler move, often, as therapist Linda Shook-Sorkin explains, because they might still be full from an earlier meal, and the food has simply become a toy. Our instinct might be to shout no, but a calmer approach is far more effective. Instead, you could calmly remove the bowl and, in a gentle but firm voice, explain something like, "Food stays on the table, sweetie. When we throw our food, it means we're all done eating. There's no anger, just a clear cause and effect." And if they then, say, take a sip of milk without protest after that, that's a perfect moment to acknowledge that good behavior with a warm compliment. "Thank you for drinking your milk so nicely." It reinforces what you do want to see. This same calm, positive instruction works wonders in other situations too. Like when your little one starts bouncing on the bed right before bedtime, when everyone's supposed to be winding down. Instead of, "No jumping on the bed," you could try, "Beds are for sleeping and relaxing, sweetie. If you have wiggly energy, let's do some big jumps on the floor before we snuggle in." You're acknowledging their energy, but redirecting it to an appropriate place and time, and explaining the purpose of the bed. Similarly, if your toddler has just started wearing shoes and they're constantly trying to take them off, even in places where it's not safe or appropriate, rather than a frustrated, "Stop taking your shoes off," you can explain what you'd prefer. Something like, "Let's keep our shoes on when we're at the park to keep our feet safe. We take our shoes off when we get home." It's clear, it's positive, and it gives them the information they need. If they're climbing on furniture, instead of "No climbing," try, "Chairs are for sitting, honey. If you want to climb, let's go to the park later, where there are special things to climb on." Or, "Please keep your feet on the floor in here." What about when your toddler's actions affect someone else, like knocking down their sibling's carefully constructed Lego tower? Dr. Fran Walfish, author of The Self-Aware Parent, points out that this isn't always conscious jealousy. Sometimes, he may simply see the Lego building and think that it would be fun to knock it down. Toddlers are exploring cause and effect after all. But as Dr. Walfish also reminds us, most kids hate to be told what to do, some more than others. So instead of a sharp, "No, don't break your sister's tower," you could try getting down to their level and saying something like, "Wow, that's a tall tower. Can I see how gently you can touch it?" Or even better, Try asking if you can join in and model how to play respectfully. That looks like fun. Maybe we can build a tower together next to this one. This way, you're not just stopping a behavior. You're teaching them about respecting others' creations and how to play cooperatively. It's about guiding them towards pro-social behavior with understanding and patience. This leads us beautifully into our third key idea, which is all about fostering emotional intelligence and connection. So much of toddler behavior, the hitting, the whining, the being rough with things, comes from big emotions they don't yet know how to manage or express. Our role isn't just to stop the behavior, but to help them understand and navigate those feelings. Take, for example, when you see your toddler being a bit rough with plants in the garden, pulling petals off your prized peonies, or perhaps tugging a bit too enthusiastically on the family pet's tail. It's easy to react with a frustrated no. But Marva Seagrim, a renowned nanny, suggests a more empathetic approach. We can gently point out that plants and animals are alive too. You might say something like, "Gentle hands with the flowers, sweetie. When we pull their petals, it hurts them, and they can't grow big and beautiful." Or, "Our kitty likes soft pets. When we pull his tail, it makes him feel ouchy." This approach helps your child develop empathy, that crucial ability to understand and share the feelings of another. As Ms. Seagrim says, we can give the child responsibility to learn that plants should be treated with respect, as with nature in general. It's about teaching them to be gentle and caring. And there's the really tough one, hitting. Whether it's a sibling or another child at a playdate, hitting is a behavior we understandably want to stop immediately. But simply saying no hitting often doesn't get to the root of the issue. Linda Shook-Sorkin explains that a toddler's capacity to understand what it means to hit others is very limited. She advises that it's important to stop the aggressor immediately, of course, to ensure safety. But then, instead of just a no, we need to calmly state the behavior we do want. For example, we use gentle hands with our friends. We don't hit when we are angry. Often, hitting is a toddler's way of expressing frustration or trying to get attention. So, after intervening, try to understand what's behind the hitting. You could help them identify their emotions. "I see you're feeling really angry right now because your brother took your toy. It's okay to feel angry, but it's not okay to hit." Then, you can help them find a better way to deal with that anger. When you're angry, you can stomp your feet or tell him, "I'm angry," or "Come and get me for help." Ms. Sorkin also suggests encouraging affection, like asking siblings to hug each other if they're both calm and willing, of course, to help cultivate that positive connection. Helping children identify their feelings is the first step. The next is helping them solve the problem that caused the feeling. What can we do so you both feel happy playing? And what about whining? Oh, the whining. As toddlers are learning new words, whining can become their go-to method for protesting or asking for something. It can really grate on our nerves, can't it? But again, just saying "stop whining" or "we don't whine" isn't usually very effective. Dr. Richard Bromfield, author of How to Unspoil Your Child Fast, suggests a brilliant alternative. Try saying, calmly and kindly, "I'm having a hard time understanding you when you use that whiny voice. Can you try using your big kid voice so I can hear what you need?" This approach doesn't shame them. It empowers them. As Dr. Bromfield explains, the most powerful and natural motivator will be the reward of having their words, feelings, or requests heard and responded to. It teaches them that they have a choice in how they communicate and that using their words clearly gets them much better results. You're helping them build crucial communication skills while also validating that you want to understand them. Finally, let's touch upon those heart-stopping moments when our little ones are about to do something genuinely dangerous. This is where our fourth key idea comes in: communicating danger effectively and reserving no for when it truly matters. While this video is about alternatives to constantly saying no, there are times when we need an immediate, clear, and strong response to ensure our child's safety. And as Dr. Ricker mentioned earlier, reserving no for these truly dangerous situations can make it more impactful. Sometimes, even no isn't enough to convey the urgency of a dangerous situation. If your toddler is about to touch a hot stove, even if it's off, but you want to teach them it's always a danger zone, or if they're running towards a busy street, you need to get their attention, fast. Dr. Ricker suggests that in these moments, parents forget that they have to work hard at the positive communication they have with kids for the negative to be effective. So, when danger is imminent, it's not just about the word no. It's about your tone of voice, your body language, your facial expression. She suggests raising their voice, shaking their finger, or even looking scared. So if your little one is reaching for that hot oven, you might exclaim, "Hot! Danger!" in a loud, sharp voice, with a look of genuine alarm on your face, and immediately move them to a safer place. The urgency in your voice and your actions will communicate the seriousness far more effectively than a calmly stated, "No, don't touch." Afterwards, when things are calm, you can explain in simple terms. The oven is very, very hot. Hot can hurt us. We never touch the oven. This isn't about scaring them unnecessarily, but about making sure our warnings cut through when their safety is truly on the line. By using these strong cues for genuine dangers, and by not overusing no in everyday situations, our toddlers are more likely to pay attention when it really counts. It's about creating a system of communication where they understand the different levels of importance in what we're saying. Hugh, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? Exploring these different ways to guide our toddlers without constantly resorting to no. It's a journey, isn't it? It's not about being perfect, and it's certainly not about never saying no again. There will be moments for that word, especially for safety. But it's about expanding our parenting toolkit, finding more compassionate, more connecting, and ultimately, more effective ways to teach our little ones. What I hope you take away from our chat today is a sense of empowerment. This journey of raising toddlers is filled with ups and downs, with moments of pure joy and moments that truly test our patience. But by shifting our approach, by focusing on understanding what's behind their behavior, by offering choices, setting clear and kind boundaries, and nurturing their emotional growth, we're not just managing behavior. We're building something so much more profound. We're building stronger connections with our children. We're fostering their ability to understand themselves and others. We're creating a home environment that feels more peaceful, more cooperative, and filled with more understanding. Remember, you are the expert on your child. Trust your instincts. Be kind to yourself. There will be days when you nail it, and days when you feel like you're fumbling. That's all part of it. The very fact that you're here, seeking out ways to connect more deeply and guide more gently, speaks volumes about the incredible parent you are. Keep showing up with love, with patience, and with a willingness to learn and grow alongside your child. You've got this. If you found this conversation helpful, or if it sparked some new ideas for you, we'd be so grateful if you'd give this video a like and share it with other parents who might be navigating similar toddler adventures. And if you haven't already, we'd love for you to subscribe to Family Connection Hub. We're all about creating a supportive community here, sharing insights and encouragement as we navigate this beautiful, messy, wonderful journey of parenting together. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.